mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure with 27 vitamins and minerals, nutrients for immune health, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
Wow. Incredible. Amazing. My go-to is Lumify eye drops.
Lumify dramatically reduces redness.
In 1 minute.
And look at the difference.
My eyes look brighter and whiter.
For up to 8 hours.
Lumify, it's kind of amazing.
See for yourself.
Tomorrow on ET, Only We're with Max Schmerkowski gearing up for baby number 3.
Okay, we leave you now with the Film Independent Spirit Awards, where The Holdovers were the show's big winner with 3 awards.
Yes, also there to present Milo Ventimiglia, who talked to our Denny Directo about his real-life role, married man. Night, everybody.
See y'all.
When I saw my wife, I was always just like, oh no, she's my wife. Like right away, I just kind of knew, so.
Milo married 39-year-old model Jera Mariano in a secret ceremony just last year.
Congratulations.
Happening now.
A man shot and killed at this apartment complex off of Bandera Road. What neighbors heard and saw.
A jury deciding the fate of a man accused of killing his own brother. We'll take you inside the courtroom as closing arguments were heard.
Don't get used to this spring-like warmth. A big change is on the way. We'll talk about the approaching cold front and a chance of rain in just a bit. The News at 5 starts right now.
First at 5, a man shot and killed this afternoon at an apartment complex in the 1800 block of Bandera Road. That's an intersection near Broadview Drive.
It's at least the second shooting at that particular complex in a week. Garrett Berger tells us the violence is scaring neighbors.
Pauline Wild was at her kitchen table when she heard the shots.
I counted 3. It sounded like shotgun, not pop, pop, but bang, like shotgun. A girl came from over that way, and she looked like she was going to collapse, and some guy took her, and they took off in the vehicle. Then another guy came running up to that apartment and then went running back out and into the parking lot.
When police arrived at the Aspire Apartments, they found a man near the parking lot shot in the chest.
The victim was shot at a different location on this apartment complex and possibly walked and collapsed on the sidewalk.
He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police don't know exactly what led to the shooting.
Currently, the suspect fled in a black vehicle. Unknown amount of suspects that was in the vehicle, but we do have one of interest at this moment. One Hispanic male, white shirt, black shorts.
SAPD confirmed the gang unit was on scene, and Wild saw officers head into an apartment with their guns drawn, though she didn't see them bring anyone out.
The one where the windows open and the blinds are broken on top right there.
We saw one man in handcuffs, but since we couldn't immediately confirm what his role was, we aren't showing his face. San Antonio police crowded around the parking lot near where the man fell. And this isn't the first time in recent history they've been out here. Last Wednesday night, an 18-year-old woman was rushed to the hospital after she was found in an apartment shot multiple times. Another woman says police are at the apartments frequently.
I just called my dad crying, telling him, like, I'm scared. I can't live here anymore. I can't even bring my kids here anymore. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can move.
We tried to talk to apartment management, but when we went to the leasing office, we were told no comment before we could ask anything. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
New at 5, 3 SAPD officers who shot and killed a woman armed with a hammer during a confrontation in court today. 2 of the 3, former Sergeant Alfred Flores and Officer Elizar Alejandro, are charged with murder. A former officer, Nathaniel Villalobos, now charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. That shooting happened back on June 23rd. During a call to respond to Melissa Perez, who was described as having what police called a mental health crisis. Perez had a hammer in her hand when officers shot her through her patio window and door. In court today, the state reported to the judge that defense attorneys have been given everything the prosecutors have on the case. That includes body camera footage from the day of the shooting from as many as 54 sources. The judge ordered the next hearing of the case in April, where a possible plea deal may be offered.
And just about an hour ago, a jury finds a man not guilty of stabbing his brother back in 2022. That decision comes after 5 hours of deliberations. Angel Gonzalez, on trial for murder, his brother Isaac Aguilar died from that knife wound to the heart.
Eric Hernandez takes us inside the courtroom where a disturbing picture was drawn of the scene, but also questions were raised about who brought the gun to the fight.
A 911 call made by Isaac Aguilar's friend the moments right after he was stabbed played for the jury one last time before they began deliberations. Aguilar was stabbed twice in the chest outside his sister's home in the 1700 block of Leal Street. Aguilar's brother, Angel Gonzalez, was charged with the murder, has been on trial since last week. Throughout testimony, has sat in the courtroom showing very little emotion, and the state says he had no remorse.
Where's the concern for his brother? Where is that? Because in the back of the car, when he is bleeding from his face, or at least it's covered by a shirt that has blood on it, you're taking a selfie moments after you stabbed your older brother in the heart.
Meanwhile, the defense telling the juries that this could have also been a case of self-defense and that nobody saw who brought in the knife during this fight.
They can't tell you who had the knife, how the fight broke out, what the discussion was about. So the state has failed to prove to you intent.
Both sides in the end agreeing that the situation was tragic, especially for the family who lost so much that day. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
A beloved special ed teacher laid to rest today. Family and friends gathering this morning to say goodbye to Alfred Jimenez. He's the Brandeis instructional assistant who died last weekend following a classroom incident earlier in the month. Services for Jimenez, also known as Mr. Fred, were held at Our Lady of Guadalupe Catholic Church. KSAT getting permission from Margot Jimenez, Mr. Fred's wife. They were there as mourners entered and left the church this morning. Understandably, she said she was not up to speaking with us on camera, but she did express a small piece of her grief and sadness to us through a statement. That statement reading in part, quote, "A beautiful soul was taken from me. My life will never be the same. I will forever miss my Freddie," unquote. According to Northside ISD, Mr. Fred was attempting to redirect a student during class and fell and injured his head. Right now, the classroom incident is under investigation by the Northside ISD Police Department.
Drama in Uvalde at a county commissioners meeting this morning. Take a look.
Thank you. My child is dead.
Brett Cross, the guardian of one of the robbed victims and an activist, arrested at that meeting this morning. Cross shouting at Mariano Pargas. Pargas, a county commissioner, but was also the acting Uvalde city police chief on May 24th. Cross uses profane language, asking why Pargas did not act to stop the killing, and is then taken out of the meeting at the direction of the county judge, William Mitchell. Here's what led up to Cross's removal.
We got a phone call that there were 89 students still alive in that classroom, and you walked away. You must speak. Watch your mouth.
More video of Cross outside shows him being placed into Uvalde police vehicle. Cross tells us he's charged with disrupting a meeting. That's a Class B misdemeanor. You can hear from Cross himself tonight during the 6 o'clock news. After a successful primary weekend in South Carolina and 3 other states, former President Donald Trump and current President Joe Biden may end up crossing paths here in Texas this week. Almost.
Both are planning to be on the border here on Thursday, bringing attention to the issue of illegal immigration and enforcement. CNN's Karen Caifa joins us now live to shed some light on what some say has become the #1 election issue of the 2024 presidential campaign. So, Karen, what are you hearing is on the agenda for these 2 candidates in Texas?
Well, Ursula, both of them planning to visit the U.S. southern border on Thursday. Trump will go to Eagle Pass, where he is expected to deliver remarks. President Biden's scheduled to go to Brownsville. He is expected to meet with Border Patrol and law enforcement officials while he is on the ground there. Just a short while ago, Biden is in New York this evening. He was asked by reporters for some more details on that itinerary. He declined to give them, saying that the Secret Service doesn't like him to do that ahead of time. But this will be Biden's first visit to the border since January of 2023, as this issue becomes top of mind for voters in this election, Ursula.
You know, Karen, reviewing the exit polls from South Carolina's primary this weekend, border security, an overwhelming concern that apparently motivated a lot of voters there to head to the polls. We think of it as a Texas, Arizona, California issue, but a focus on border security is one thing that seems to be capturing political weight in states like South Carolina, Iowa, even New Hampshire.
Yeah, Steve, this is something that the Biden administration and the Biden campaign is certainly trying to deal with, because President Biden has taken a lot of heat from both parties, including his own, about action at the border and immigration. It has become very much a wedge issue, not in just states that are on the border, but across the country, as you said. And one part of that is that former President Trump, has really driven it as part of his campaigns. It's also become a global thing as well. The United States is not alone with the immigration topic and how to handle it, and differing opinions on how to do so. There are a lot of people moving in a lot of different places around the globe because of things like climate change, economy, and of course, wars. And also the economy plays a role in it as well. The Biden campaign is struggling with this perception that the U.S. economy is not good. That's another thing and another issue that they have to work on ahead of the general election. But the immigration topic is part of it as well. Some of the visuals of migrants on the border, there are some voters who believe that it's impacting the U.S. economy in how those immigrants are cared for, and also the jobs that they are seeking. So a lot of different opinions in the mix as well when it comes to this very important topic of immigration that Congress has not yet been able to solve.
Yeah, important and complex. Karen Kafer reporting live from Washington this evening. Thank you, Karen.
Now, once again, KSAT is covering this issue as well. We're going to be live along the border in both cities, Brownsville and in Eagle Pass, as both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump visit South Texas.
Again, that's this Thursday. KSAT has you covered both on air and online. Time saver traffic right now. Let's go to I-10 and I-35, where you can see traffic is very heavy. Looks like especially in the northbound lanes. Again, this is I-10 and I-35.
And you have the AC cranked up or the windows all the way down, trying to get a breeze in the vehicle. Temperatures are very spring-like. Even a record high in Del Rio today, making it up to 96 degrees. Talia's backyard, Eagle Pass 95, 89 Kerrville, 86 in Panna Maria. You get the idea. 80s and then even some 90s farther to the west, where we have drier air and they had more hours of sunshine. So feeling warm out there, but I caution you, don't get used to it this week. Some big changes are coming down the line. Before we get into that, I want to show you the visible satellite imagery. Beautiful cirrus clouds streaming overhead, and I think that's going to make for a beautiful sunset this evening. Try to get outside between 6:20 and 6:50 for the best viewing. And the sunset, by the way, at 6:31 p.m. Temperature will be near 80 degrees at that point. And snap your photos, upload them to KSAT Connect through the Weather Authority app. Bit humid out there this evening, especially locally and eastward. Southeast wind 5 to 10. Get ready for some fog tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about that along with our weather whiplash this week in just a bit.
Weather whiplash. Thanks, Adam. If it's dirty, it has to be clean. Toss it in the washing machine, right? That's until it doesn't work. So when should you fix or buy a new one? We have a checklist that could help you decide.
I'm Myra Arthur here in the newsroom, and here's what we're working on for the news at 6 o'clock today. Neighbors in Schertz woke up to a major gas leak this morning. Our KSAT crew could actually hear the gas rushing out into the air when we went to check this out. What we found out about how this happened and how an emergency plan to let neighbors know worked. Should Texas join the national power grid? A U.S. representative from Texas has filed a bill that would do just that. It's an idea that's been out there since that disastrous February 2021 freeze. Congressman Greg Casar joins us for the KSAT Q&A to talk about why this proposal. That and more today at 6.
Thank you, Myra. It could be a tough decision when the washing machine breaks down. What exactly are you supposed to do?
Yeah, buying a new one can get pretty expensive, but then again, repairs aren't cheap. 12 on your sides, Marilyn Moritz on what to consider before you fix or replace.
This 14-year-old washing machine is on the fritz.
I was afraid that if I spent the money to repair it, it would just go out again soon. And frankly, I'm surprised it lasted this long.
So instead of trying to fix it, the Prieto family headed out to buy a new one.
What you should really consider if you're replacing an appliance that's broken is how severe the repair is and what it might cost to fix, how old the appliance is, and how much you paid for it in the first place.
With washers, you should also factor in use.
If you live in a family with a lot of children at home, if you're doing a ton of laundry, multiple loads a day, in some cases, even if the washer is only a few years old, it might make more sense to replace it because it's just had that much wear and tear on it.
We have a toddler. We do at least one load of laundry a day.
But say you paid $1,000 for your washer 3 years ago and only do a few loads a week. A repair might be the better financial choice.
Before you go calling a service person for your washing machine, it makes sense to look at what's actually going wrong. Start with a simple online search. Look to see if there are any recalls on the washer or if there are any simple fixes like a clogged filter or a kinked outlet hose. Lastly, you want to check the intricacies of your warranty to see if it's something that might have extended coverage that you can get repaired for free before you place a call to a service person.
To help you decide what to do, Consumer Reports has an interactive tool. Just plug in your information and they calculate things like cost and depreciation and make a recommendation. We have a link on our website. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Take a look outside with live cam. Really pretty day out there. It is feeling quite spring-like for a minute. Right?
For a minute, yes. Don't get accustomed to this weather and don't think it's going to be like this all week long because we do have the weather whiplash headed our way. Wednesday, a cold front arrives. That's our transition day. And then temperatures really tank on Thursday before rising again into the weekend. And we do have some small rain chances to talk about as well. Let's get right to our afternoon high temperature trend. Tomorrow in the 80s again, 86 here in San Antonio. Wednesday, we're down into the mid 60s. And look at Thursday. The warmest we'll get all day Thursday is 52 degrees. So talk about a big change this week. And then we rebound quickly Friday into the weekend in the 70s to right near 80 degrees. So just keep in mind, Thursday, that's the chilly day this week. You're going to feel it. You'll want the jacket all day long for Thursday. Today, 55 in the morning, 82 our high temperature. That's 12 degrees above average, but still far shy of our record of 91 set back in 1917. 90 in Abilene, 91 Junction, 94 Laredo, 95 in Del Rio. But as I mentioned earlier, Del Rio had a record high today of 96 degrees. And you look how temperatures are a little closer to 80 and in the upper 70s east of town. East of I-35, that's where we have higher humidity in the air. And the clouds and morning fog stuck around for longer. So that's why temperatures are a little bit lower farther to the east and into the 90s along the Rio Grande. So big difference across our area. Tomorrow morning, temperatures in the low to mid 60s, I think, in and around San Antonio, about 65 degrees, especially within 410, a little bit lower as you get outside the loops. By tomorrow afternoon, we're back into the 80s. We talked about that. So warm day tomorrow, feeling spring-like again, with that humidity feel in the air. But I do want to point out, tomorrow morning for the commute, we'll have some fog. I know that was an issue on the roadways this morning. Anticipated again tomorrow. Visibilities could be down under a half a mile at times through the morning commute tomorrow. Then we have sunshine in the afternoon. Pleasanton, 88 tomorrow. Hondo as well. Bulverde, 85. Seguin, 84. Converse, 85 degrees. Feeling the warmth. And I wish I had better news with rain chances as we get a cold front and some upper level rain-making energy. But unfortunately, we're just looking at a 10% chance on Thursday, mainly sprinkles turning into drizzle. And then Sunday and Monday, we could see a few thunderstorms pop up. Let's talk about this rain chance that's coming our way. The cold front is still near Canada. We've had the big blue H over Mexico, the upper level high. That's going to finally move eastward. Upper disturbance here in the Pacific that's headed toward Los Angeles and Southern California. That's going to head our way. Cold front moves through on Wednesday. Then this upper level energy, this disturbance comes in on Thursday, giving us more cloud cover and even a few sprinkles and then areas of drizzle. So we talked about those afternoons dropping off into the low 50s. That's as warm as it's going to get on Thursday, 52. Mornings will dip back down into the 40s for Thursday and Friday. So we're not done with the chill this year. I wish I could say for sure we're done with the freeze, but we cannot guarantee that. I just think odds are really in our favor of a lack of another freeze, but we can't guarantee that at this point. And notice, beautiful weekend on the way. Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be right near 80 degrees.
Beautiful weekend. We just have to dig our coats back out.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then put them away again.
Yes.
All right, so the state basketball tournament right around the corner, Larry.
Yeah, so it begins on Thursday, but our local teams don't begin playing until Friday, and that includes the Bernie Greyhounds, the girls basketball team, back in the 4A state semis, and they're looking to reach the championship this year. And in the NBA, Pop benched Keldon Johnson last night. Coming up.
Looking for the triple. Got bumped. It's a 3-and-1. Trey Jones comes on for Keldon Johnson. Tom goes down to speak to Keldon.
And that was the end of Keldon Johnson's night because Pop benched him after that foul in Big Board Sports. In girls high school basketball, the Bernie Greyhounds are heading to the UIL Class 4A state tournament for the third time in the last 4 seasons. So far this playoff run, the Greyhounds have defeated Gonzales, Alvin, Iowa Colony, Navasota, West Oso, and then Fredericksburg in the 4A regional final to punch their ticket to state. Last season, the Greyhounds lost in the state semis, and the team feels that experience can only help them out this time around.
I think just the experience from last year, you know, it was so big last year and everything was new and we were wide-eyed like, wow, this is so amazing. And now that we've been there and we kind of know what's going to happen, I think now we'll be more focused on the actual basketball and not just the, oh my gosh, we made it.
Just knowing that we're going, for me and Abby, this is our 3rd time. And I mean, you know what they say, 3rd time's a charm, but no, the experience definitely makes a world of a difference. It's so different, just the atmosphere, because obviously just on the court, there's no wall behind the backboard, the depth is different, it's harder to shoot, and the crowd is insane. But definitely we are better players than we were every time that we've gone before, much more mature players, much more consistent players, and it'll help us a lot.
I think it's definitely an advantage going into it, having been there, and I think it gives us a little bit more of that drive from our loss last year that we really want to be there on Saturday. We're not content with just Friday.
Bernie will play the Canyon Lady Eagles Friday 3 p.m. in the Class 4A state semifinals at the Alamo Dome. The Spurs lost at the Jazz 128-109 last night. In the first quarter, Pop benched 5th-year small forward Keldon Johnson after he fouled Lauri Markkanen on this 3-point shot, which resulted in 4 points for the Jazz. Keldon played just 4 minutes, and he was done. Here's Mitch Johnson on the reason why.
Just repetitive mistakes. Sometimes you need to change up the messaging or change up the accountability or how you do things, and Pop's the best at it. So.
Spurs will close out the rodeo road trip tomorrow night at 7 at the Timberwolves.
You could kind of tell that was building up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now we'll see how Keldon responds tomorrow night.
If he plays.
I'm sure he'll play.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Larry.
We'll be right back.
The countdown, it's on. 42 days until the total solar eclipse. Here's another factoid. The longest length of totality when the moon is completely blocking out the sun will be over Nazas, Mexico, lasting 4 minutes and 28 seconds. And even in parts of the Texas Hill Country, we'll have totality of around 4 minutes and even a little bit more than 4 minutes.
Really?
Yes.
Northwest San Antonio?
We'll have it for about 2 minutes in parts of Northwest San Antonio.
Interesting.
Because that's further away from the center line.
All right.
I can't wait to see what the horses do to that.
They're going to think it's nighttime.
Yeah.
We'll keep the camera rolling. Thanks for joining us.
See you at 6.